Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my might and soul. Right. My videos are about love, infinity, creation, energy, because we're infinite love, we're infinite energy, infinite creation. This is who we are. We're the human race. This is a video in this series that I'm making about infinite virtual cycles. So this is an incredible infinite virtual cycle, which is gamma energy and plasma energy together as one. So it's gamma energy and plasma energy. So this is an infinite virtual cycle when these two come together as one, leading into an incredible it's beautiful. It's beautiful because of gamma energy and plasma energy and how they interact and the way they operate in the human body as a species, who we are. Okay, so it's very important to explain what is it that gamma energy is and how is it that this results in plasma energy. Okay, so let's talk about these two, and I'll explain myself. Because this is an infinite virtual cycle of gamma energy and plasma energy. Okay, so let's get started. So where does gamma energy come from, and what is it that gamma energy? Why is it that gamma energy leads to plasma energy, and how come are these two leading into an infinite virtual cycle of creation? Because in the end, it's all about creation, because energy creates, and gamma energy is very powerful. It's very powerful energy, and it leads to plasma energy, which is extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful plasma energy. So we got gamma energy and plasma energy working in this infinite virtual cycle. So let's, and how is it that these two are associated to the human body? Because this is fundamental. Is the association of gamma energy and plasma energy in this infinite virtual cycle with the body, with the human body, with us, with the human DNA. Because is the gamma energy interaction with the human body, and that leads, as a result of that, it leads to plasma energy. Okay, so these two come together as one, and the human body is the result of it. So it's gamma energy and plasma energy in this infinite virtual cycle, this duality principle that leads to the singularity of the human body, what the human body is per se, who we are as a species, and the play and the role that gamma energy plays with plasma energy. Okay, so let's talk about it. So what are we in the end? Well, we are energy. We're energy. So if you think of our senses, how we observe energy, and we think of it, the best way to think about it is us as energy, and what energy is, and the way our energy operates, and what our energy ends up becoming as a result of all the energy outside of us. Because remember, we are biological. The human species is biological. This is who we are as a species, right? We are a biological species. And our DNA, our structure is biology based, right? We all biology. But we are biochemistry. Our biology is biochemistry, meaning that we ourselves are energy. We ourselves are energy. Our density structure, our space structure is all energy. And as you know, gamma energy comes from the sun. All energy comes from the sun. All energy, all light comes from the sun. And our sun is very special. Why? Because our sun is the central sun of the whole universe. So our sun is the central sun of the universe. Is the very epicenter, right? It's the very epicenter of the universe. This is what our sun is. It's the very epicenter of it. So the universe is an electromagnetic field. It's a spherical electromagnetic field. All electromagnetic fields are spherical in nature. This is the nature of electromagnetism. Everything is spherical. So the electromagnetic field of the human body is spherical. The electromagnetic field of planet Earth is spherical. The electromagnetic field of the universe is spherical. The electromagnetic field of galaxies is spherical. And everything is spherical. The sun's electromagnetic field is spherical. So the way it is, so the universe is this spherical energy, is this spherical electromagnetic field, right? And so in order for it, otherwise just will be like a bubble. Like if you think in terms of, like, when you blow up a bubble, You see it forms into a sphere, right? But then that bubble bursts, right? Why? Because it's just a spherical vacuum threshold in the air. So it's not a stable structure. It doesn't have an epicenter that holds it together, so it doesn't burst. It's just a vacuum without the space structure to allow it to be stable, and it doesn't collapse, right? But it's the same principle. It's spherical. Bubbles are spherical, right? And it's a vacuum threshold that is being met, right, in space. So think of the universe in the same way. So the universe is this spherical vacuum threshold that is met in space, and the space of creation, the space of everything that there is. Okay. So, but it's very stable because it creates everything, right? It creates galaxies, it creates us, it creates everything. So, but how is it that this electromagnetic field it doesn't burst, it doesn't collapse because it's extremely stable? How? Because it has a mechanism that allows it to be so, because it's energy and it is electromagnetic in nature. And the way this mechanism works is that all the energy on the tension on the surface of the sphere, this electromagnetic field, gets released at the epicenter. It gets released at the epicenter. And the epicenter is the singularity, because the singularity is the singular point where all points meet. That's what the singularity is a singular point where all points meet, right? What points? Well, the infinite number of points on the surface of the sphere. What sphere? Well, the electromagnetic field of the universe, right? So all this energy on the tension on the electromagnetic field, right, it is released. And it is because an electromagnetic field is polarity, is charge, right? It's electromagnetic in nature, so it moves, right? It has momentum, it moves, it rotates, it's energy. That's electromagnetism, is that because of polarity, right? It's movement. But that, as this electromagnetic moves, it turns, it rotates, right? It spins, right, on its own axis because of polarity and electromagnetism, because it's spherical. That energy, as it spins, it needs to be released. Otherwise, the structure will collapse, it will burst. So how is it that energy is released? Well, as it spins, right, well, the energy is released into a vortex, that leads to the epicenter of this electromagnetic field. And that epicenter is the heart of it. The very epicenter is this vortex, is this point, and it's known as the singularity. Is the energy release point. So that structure is held by that. And why? Because the energy is released from the epicenter into the space structure of the electromagnetic field within, because the electromagnetic field is spherical in nature, so it has a space structure within it. So that space structure is stable because the singularity creates the perfect balance between the tension on the surface and the space structure within it. And at that epicenter, that energy gets released. It gets released into the space structure within the sphere. And that's what leads to all the spherical vacuum thresholds within that space structure. So that leads into galaxies and all that. But in the end, it's all energy, so it's connected to the tension on the surface of the sphere. So the structure is sustainable. So this is how it works, and this is what this is. So this is why the universe is stable, because it has this singularity at the epicenter. So and what is that singularity then? Well, the singularity of the universe is the central sun. Is a release point where all singular points meet, all the points in the universe, all the tension on the electromagnetic field, the space curvature of the gravity of the universe, this spherical energy. What the universe is, the space that entails the universe. That energy all connects at an epicenter, and that epicenter is the central sun, and it's the singularity where all energy is released into the space structure of the universe. So galaxies are formed as a result of that energy being released. And our sun is the epicenter of the universe, is the singularity of the universe, is where all the points meet in the universe, and that energy is released, and everything is created. All the light comes out of our central sun, and then that light moves all over the universe, and it creates all the galaxies as a result. And then that leads to life forms. You see, so this is extremely important, is energy. So you see, all the energy comes from the singularity. And because the universe is infinite in that way, because there is an infinite number of points on the tension of the surface of the sphere. And what sphere is the electromagnetic field of the universe that creates the singularity, the epicenter, the central sun, that then creates all the galaxies, which fills the space structure of that electromagnetic field, which is the universe. So, but that's infinite energy. So where is that energy coming? Well, that energy is created by a spherical vacuum threshold, which is the universe that gets met. So the energy is released, and then that singularity, the prime mover starts, and then the first sun gets ignited in each universe. But there is an infinite number of universes. Okay, so there is an infinite number of universes because infinity is that, it's just an infinite number of creations. So, and all of these universes would have the same mechanics, is the same structure, the same logic, is spherical energy in the way of an electromagnetic field with a singularity at the epicenter. And there is, so infinity itself is that spherical energy that is just like the central sun. It has its own electromagnetic field, which is the electromagnetic field of infinity itself, that generates the singularity of infinity itself, and the energy that is released is creating this the energy that fills spherical vacuum thresholds within the space structure of infinity itself. So each of those becomes a universe, and we're one of them. And in our universe, then you see an infinite number of universes within the electromagnetic field of infinity itself, which has a singularity, which is the singularity of infinity itself, that is generating all the energy, this infinite energy that's creating all these universes. And we happen to be one of those universes. And then the same applies, right? The same logic applies at our scale. So from the universe, then there is an infinite number of galaxies that are formed. These are the space structures, the electromagnetic fields of the galaxies that lead to the central suns of each galaxy. And then the energy is released, so that leads to star systems within that space structure of that galaxy. So it's an infinite number of star systems within a galaxy. And there is an infinite number of galaxies within a universe. And there is an infinite number of universes within infinity, because that's the definition of infinity. Is infinity. Infinity is infinite by all standards, by definition, because it's eternal, it's forever, it's limitless, it's boundless, is limitless. There's no limits, it's infinite at all scales: consciousness, self-awareness, love, energy. Everything that you can think of is infinite in nature. So there is an infinite number of universes. But our universe, which is one of the infinite number of universes, we as a species happen to be the species inhabiting the epicenter of that universe, the central sun, which is our sun. So our planet orbits the proximity of the central sun. And we are the species that have evolved into the biology of infinity itself, because we're so close to the central energy of creation that creates everything in the first place. And you see, because this is infinite, we're talking about infinite energy, right? Coming out of the central sun, because infinity itself is infinite. So the energy of infinity is infinite, creating this universe. And the epicenter of the singularity, from all the infinite points on the surface of the electromagnetic field of the universe, creates that singularity, which is an infinite number of points, which is infinite energy, which itself is infinity, because it's the energy that created the universe in the first place, out of an infinite number of universes, right? So this is a cycle that goes forever into infinity, because the sphere is infinite. Everything is infinite in nature. And the creator has to be energy, because energy is creation and creation is life. So you see spherical energy because it meets the criteria for infinity to exist, and the sun is just spherical energy, as we can see. So you see that applies to infinity. So, but what about us, and what about gamma ray? Because remember, this video is about infinite virtual cycle of gamma energy and plasma energy, right? Gamma rays, plasma rays, all this energy, all this infinite energy, right? Why? Because remember, light from the central sun is infinite light, is infinite energy that creates all the galaxies and all the life forms within the universe, right? Our universe. So then, from that point of view, so if it's infinite, remember, there is an infinite amount of energy. And this amount of energy, so that means, because there is an infinite amount of energy, that means there is an infinite amount and number of different types of frequency of energy and wavelengths and vibrations of energy, right? So that means that gamma, so if you think of the light spectrum, right, because it's the light that we see with the sun, just because with our senses, right, we see the sun and we see the light that comes out of it, and then just like a crystal, you take a prism, a quartz or anything like that, a diamond, any crystal, and then you heat it with light, and then the light spectrum shows, right? So it's the light spectrum that we can see with our eyes. But it doesn't mean that that's all the light spectrum. That's just the light spectrum that we can see with our eyes, with the human eye, traditionally, with our senses, right? So, okay, so this is important to understand. Why? Because if you think of the light spectrum that we see, the traditional light spectrum, so we have the highest light that we see is violet light, and then red is at the bottom, right? So we have this spectrum of light that we can observe, and that's why we see colors and things with our eyes, right? Because it comes out of light, right? This white light, this energy that comes, and then the spectrum is that. But then that doesn't mean that that's all this light, because we know, because we have measured it, and there is equipment because infinity is that's the nature of infinity. So this light that we cannot necessarily see, but it exists, that comes out of light itself, infinity itself. And so the next level above violet light is gamma. So, and there is many different, 3 or 4 different types of gamma light, right? Which is frequencies and vibrations, right? Wavelengths of the energy, right? So, and then above gamma, there is an infinite number of energies above it too, but not necessarily that we traditionally can see with our senses and feel and all that. But this is the beauty of gamma energy and plasma energy, because remember, we are the image of the creator, right? This is precisely who we are. We're the image of the creator. And because we're the epicenter of the universe, because we orbit the central planet, right? The first sun, the son of sun of our universe, we are the biology that has evolved, right? We are the biology that has evolved in the proximity of the central sun, which is all the energy of the universe being released through this singularity that creates everything. So because this is the case, we have evolved into the species that can absorb this light through our eyes and by breathing the oxygen that we breathe, which essentially ends up becoming an element because of light itself. And then the water that we drink, same. And the food that we eat is all essentially out of the sun. It'll be energy out of the sun that gets into different states of density, and we consume that. So we're consuming the energy of creation, the infinite energy of creation from the central sun, as a species being so close to the proximity of it. So that means that we ourselves became the image of it. We evolve into it, but we're the biological expression of infinity because we consume infinite energy from the central sun. And what is this? Well, it's us. So if you think of us, now let's talk about our own singularity. So our own singularity, the epicenter. So what gives humans, our species, life? The human heart. So the primordial instinct of the human species is the human heart. The heartbeat is a primordial instinct, is the first instinct, it's the instinct to live. So the human heartbeat is the instinct to exist. Without the human heartbeat, we wouldn't exist. So you see, it's our first instinct, and the human heartbeat comes from the cells, heart cells, and the heart cells come from DNA. And DNA is biology, you see, with the biology of infinity. Because if you think about it, the heartbeat generates the electromagnetic field of the human body. This is what the heart does. So it's the heartbeat, right? The contraction and the retraction, the polarity of the charge generates an electromagnetic field. And electromagnetic fields are spherical in nature. So it generates this electromagnetic field, right, that surrounds the human body. And the space structure density of that electromagnetic field is us, our species, us, our bodies, our minds, our consciousness, our self-awareness, everything that we are, our sentience, our intelligence, our thoughts, our memories, our actions, everything that we do. So we are the infinite number of points on the tension on the surface of our electromagnetic field as a species, as an individual. That's us. And all these points, right, they need to be released into an epicenter, a singularity, so the structure is stable. Well, that structure is the human heart. The human heart is the biological creator because it generates the electromagnetic field. So the biological singularity is the human heart. The human heart is a biological singularity, right? And by being the biological singularity, it creates the electromagnetic field, and then we exist as a result. So, but then remember, at the epicenter of the universe is our central sun, which is right there outside. So if you understand these, right, you know that from the brightest point, right, because it's infinite energy. Why? Because all the points, infinite number of points on the tension on the surface of the electromagnetic field, right, of the universe, they're meeting at one point, and that point is the central sun, the singularity, the singular point where all points meet. So that's why it's infinite energy, because it's an infinite number of points contacting and creating that momentum, right, when they move, because energy, electromagnetism spins. His energy is motion. So when they're moving, and when they all touching at that point, they're all meeting at that point and in movement. So that energy is a primer mover, is singularity, is infinite energy, because it's all tension, it's all energy that's been released, is gravity, electrogravitics, and then that's the energy, right? And that is the energy that is being released. So we understand this, right? And by understanding this, then you know the infinite energy coming out, the light. But where does that energy come from? Well, from the singular point of the singularity, right? From the sun, the heart. Is the brightest point, is the highest energy, and that's where all light is created, and all energy, all elements are created as a result, and then it moves out, right? It moves out of it, right, into the space structure of the universe. So it's the same with us. So the highest energy of the human heart is love. Love is the highest energy of the human heart, and as a result, then we can create, right? We can create infinite energy. So remember, because our heart gives us life, and then love is the highest energy, then we conscious and self-aware as a result, so we can have senses, our sensory perception, sight, hearing, taste, touch, smell, all these senses, right, surrounding the human brain, that's just processing, decoding and encoding all that. And within the human brain, we have the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. It's infinite virtuous cycle. That is, when they come together with the energy of the sun, that leads to opening the third eye, as is well known. So is this the sixth sense, right? Is what's beyond. We having the intuitions, the insights, the instincts to go beyond what we can see and perceive, right? Because this is the whole point of gamma energy. This is where I'm leading with this, because this infinite energy, right? And love is the infinite energy of the human heart. So where is gamma coming into the picture for this infinite virtuous cycle? Right here. Because of the pituitary gland and the pineal gland interacting together as one. How come? Well, because, these glands, they generate molecules that are crystallic in nature. They're crystal-like molecules, right? DMT, THC, and they have many number of them. So what happens is that, as I explain later, when a prism, a crystal, quartz, or a diamond, or anything like that gets hit by light, it generates this spectrum, right? Well, we can see the light spectrum, right? So if you understand these, then there is the same nature for the crystallic molecules that are created inside the glands, secreted by these glands, right? So DMT, THC, they're all crystal-like, they're crystallic. And where is this light? Well, it says sunlight. Sunlight coming straight into our eyes, hitting it. And also the signals from our heart and our body, when the heart signaling it, because the heart is energy. So when you love, it's signal, and this signal goes and it hits these glands, not only from our heart, the love of our energy and the signaling, but also the energy from the sunlight going straight into our eyes through our iris, and that energy also hitting the crystals inside the glands, these molecules. So when that does, it's called piezoelectric current. It's electricity that results as a pressure of light hitting crystals. Is the pressure that results, and this generates the spectrum of light. But remember, because there is the sun of the light, with sunlight, when it hits us, we're not only absorbing light from the normal light spectrum, we're absorbing gamma energy and all the energy above gamma, because the energy of the sun is infinite. We just see certain spectrum of it, but it doesn't mean that the other light that exists is not coming inside our body. And a lot of that energy is gamma. Gamma is a lot of the energy that comes inside the body. And when we love, is this high energy that we're creating, which is also gamma energy out of our heart, because it's higher energy. You see, we're just creating gamma energy with our hearts. And also the energy of sunlight coming straight into our eyes, hitting our molecules, these crystal-like molecules inside the glands, these glands, right? And it's raining really hard, so I really hope that it's just background music.